and you can try to address them in your own life. And that's what self-assessment is. Those who assess themselves, they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. That's what we say SWOT analysis is. Even when you write your own resume, you make a SWOT analysis. And you write about your strengths. At the same time, you also write about your weaknesses. When you know your strengths, when you know your weaknesses, you know how to rectify and address those weaknesses in your life, so that you can think of your future and you can make a vision about your future. Let's go ahead. There are a few more qualities of a leader. And they must be open to criticism. A leader is one who is open to criticism. Very often we never would like to other people criticize us. Why? Some people, they have self-respect. Okay, self-respect, having self-respect is good, but criticism, constructive criticism is also important. We must allow others to criticize us. That helps us rectify our own mistakes, our errors, or if you have some lapses, you can rectify them, you can correct them, and let us see if there are some more. And these leaders not only open to criticism, but they're also motivating others. They motivate others. And finally, they are proactive. What is proactive? Very often we are reactive. What is reactive? If someone says and someone advises you to do something, you do it. But proactive people are not so. They think of their own and they think of doing something on their own. That is proactive. And visionaries are usually, they are proactive. My dear viewers, are you proactive? Do you have any one of these qualities? Then definitely you are going to be a leader in your life. If you do not have any one of these qualities, you can think of imbibing some of these qualities. It is not possible for every individual to have all these qualities. At least we can acquire some of these qualities by practice, by observing the lives of great people. Even in degree first year, I know some of the colleges and also universities have prescribed Shyness My Shield, an extract from Gandhiji's My Experiments with the Truth, the autobiography of Gandhi. You know, these qualities you can find in the life of Mahatma Gandhi, and finally he became a leader. All countries, every individual all over the world, they want to go under the influence of the life of Mahatma Gandhi, because he is a man, he started as an ordinary individual like you and me and like everyone, but one day he became a world famous leader, and he was instrumental in influencing many countries and also many world famous leaders. One of them is Martin Luther King Jr., who openly acknowledged the influence of Mahatma Gandhi for his non-violence and other practices. Let's move on. And some of these qualities we must try to understand. For example, commitment. What is commitment? Leaders always, they are committed to their job, to their activity, to their promises. I hope you are reading that on the screen. Leaders stick to their decisions even in no-win scenarios. If you are commitment, if you have commitment, if you are committed to your decision, you know what happens? Sometimes success is not everything, but keeping your word is everything. So even if you fail outwardly in some activity, you may want to keep your promises. That's why Robert Frost, in the famous poem, he says, miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep, and promises to keep. My dear viewers, when you make a promise, not only to others, even to yourself, if you make a promise, you have to keep the promise. Very often, you know, you make a promise that you would be there at a particular place at a particular time. Very often we fail to be there. You are failing in that promise. A small incident. I can quote number of instances like that. Dear viewers, if we can keep promises in your life, in our lives, definitely we can be leaders in our own life, in our own given circumstances. Let's move on to the next quality and try to understand what it is. And leaders, very often they are visionaries. Unless one is a visionary, he or she cannot be a leader. But what does it mean? Vision for future, not only of themselves but also of others. If you have a vision, then you will be successful in motivating others. Sometimes you want to achieve something in your life, you want to do something, but the circumstances, the present circumstances, they don't seem to be favorable. Still, despite many adversities, you may have to work. If you have a vision, you do not look at the present situation, but you look beyond that and you achieve what you want to achieve. Most of the students in the colleges, they say they are from very humble background, they are from rural background, and they quote many hurdles and problems. My dear viewers, I would like to tell you, if you have a vision for your future, despite the adverse conditions that you have today, you can prevail upon those things and you can become a leader. Take my word. The effective leader establishes achievable goals. Sometimes we prove to be very impracticable when we have a goal. Very impractical goals you may have, but that doesn't take you anywhere. When you want to fix a goal, you must have a practicable and achievable goal in your life. You can't become a prime minister overnight, or you can't become an IAS officer overnight. When you want to achieve something, you must have a practical, achievable goal. I hope you understand what I am trying to say. There must be short-term goal and there can be long-term goal, and then the goals must be guiding you all the time. They must be fixed before your eyes and they must motivate you to work harder and harder, to work hard to achieve something. Okay, let's move on. You may have a goal, but at the same time some people, they lose passion for the goal. So one must have that passion for achieving the goals. Effective leaders believe passionately in their goals. What does it mean? Our former president, the great Abdul Kalam, he used to say, he used to motivate youngsters to dream and to achieve those dreams. You dream today and you work for your dreams tomorrow, and finally you achieve it. So if you want to be a leader, you must be achieving your goals and you must be passionate in achieving those goals. Let's move on. They have a positive outlook. Sometimes you try to achieve the goal, but the adverse conditions, they may demotivate you. But still, if you have a positive outlook, definitely you can keep going ahead. And not only that, they have passion for life and they are guiding stars, and others, they definitely follow what the leaders have kept for others to follow. My dear viewers, there are many people, even in your classrooms, even in your colleges, even in your own society. You can emulate their qualities and become a leader, and you can also motivate others to follow what you are doing, what others are doing. And not only that, as I told you in the beginning, you must have good communication skills. At the same time, you must also have integrity of character and also honesty. As we discussed, honesty is always the best policy. What is integrity? Integrity is nothing but to have what we call oneness with your own spirit. Very often we find people saying something and behaving in a different way. Actually, they have got some ideas in the mind, but when they speak as a different individual altogether. They contradict with their own self. That is what acting against your own self. If someone is acting like that, he or she cannot have integrity. One day, very often it is quoted from the life of Gandhi. One of the parents comes with his child and asks Gandhi to encourage or to counsel the child not to eat jaggery. But you know what did Gandhi do? First of all, he tries not to eat jaggery, and then he tells the child not to eat jaggery. What does it mean? You can't tell others what you cannot do. So you have to do it fast. and tell others. That is what being true to oneself in. That's what, in other words, you call it integrity. And then honesty. I hope everyone knows this word. Very often this word is used, but still people fail to be honest in their lives. Let us convey an aura of honesty in both the professional and the personal lives. And they must be one on both the ends, even in profession as well as in personal life. You can't be two different individuals in two different spheres. Whether you are in your profession or in your class or in your job or outside at home, you should be one and the same individual. That's what honesty is. Let's move on. And dedication towards your commitment, your goals. See, the effective leader is dedicated to his or her charge. In other words, whatever you promise, whatever you want to achieve, you must be dedicated till the end of your job. The leader gives himself or herself entirely to the task when it is necessary. They never spare any attempt to achieve something. So, one must be dedicated in one's life to achieve something. And another two important qualities, I think I must take the second one first. Listening. Very often we tend to speak. We never want to listen to others. If you are not listening, you cannot understand the circumstances. You cannot understand the situation of the other person. So, if you want to be a leader, you must have patience to listen to the other person. Leaders, they always listen. Once you listen, then you come up with your own solution, or let us say with your own advice, or you can understand the situation and you can guide the people. Without listening, you cannot do that. So, leaders always they listen, and this is the most important attribute of all leaders. Not only the listeners, not only the followers, but even leaders listen. Okay, and that's why God has given us 2 years to listen to others. When you listen, definitely you can understand the problems of other people, and you can also improve yourself while listening to the other person. And then besides this, charisma. What is charisma? It is not just outward beauty. In every house, in every institution, you may have the you might have seen the photographs of Gandhi and also Mother Teresa and some other leaders. Can anyone say that Gandhi is handsome in his photo? Can anyone say Mother Teresa is beautiful? She has got those wrinkles on her face, but still the beauty of her character, the charisma of her character attracts many people and motivates people, and people are under the influence of her character and they get involved in some social activity. Charisma does not mean physical beauty alone, but even the beauty of the character. And even John Keats and also many other poets speak about beauty, and they say beauty is truth, truth beauty, that's all you know on earth and all you need to know on earth. And they also say thing of beauty is a joy forever. It is not just physical beauty. Physical beauty is just transient, and you may be handsome today and tomorrow it cannot be. So, you cannot think about your physical beauty and it may vanish. And then we have to think of certain contrasting issues as well. Very often managers and bosses are treated as leaders, but there is a lot of difference between managing things and bossing over people and also being a leader. And let us try to understand who is a leader, who is a manager, and who is a boss. If we can understand the difference between these people, then you can imbibe right perspective and right qualities of a leader. And what is leadership? Leadership is the ability to develop a vision that motivates others to move with a passion towards a common goal. Many scholars have said these words, but let us try to understand. Leadership is at one level educating oneself or modifying the character of one's own self, improving upon what he is or what she is today, and they try to achieve something tomorrow. Not only that, on the other level, they also motivate and influence and motivate others. So, a leader has personal qualities and also qualities in relation with other people. Let us see what is management. Very often these days youngsters want to become managers and they want to acquire managerial skills through various degrees. But my dear viewers, let us try to understand the difference between these spheres. Management is the ability to organize resources and also to coordinate and execute the tasks that are given to them. What does it mean? Managing things is different from organizing things, organizing people. A manager has men, material and everything, but a leader may not have. A leader creates his own environment, his own resources and his own people, and that is how he paves a way to many other people. He is a pioneer leader, whereas manager, he works in the given situation and he tries to organize. That is the difference between management and leadership. And let us find some more differences between managers and leaders, so that you can find the contrast between these two and acquire the right qualities of a leader. I do not want to say that managers, one need not be a manager, of course one can be, but being a leader is much more than that. You can become a leader from being a manager. Managers usually they manage their resources wisely, whereas a leader, they are innovators. As I told you, they discover opportunities not only for themselves but even for others. They are leaders. In the beginning I showed you the pictures of some of the world famous leaders. In India we have Tatas and Birlas. They created opportunities not only for themselves but for the country and also to the whole world. That is the leadership quality. And next one, they maintain economic balance. Managers, they are good at managing things and also maintaining the economics of a situation. Let us say of a firm, of a company, we can say that. But what about leaders? Leaders, they develop new activities. Instead of managing what is given, they take new initiatives and they develop new things. So what happens when something new is developed, many people get the advantage of that, and you can create managers, and managers are interested in systems and structures, whereas the leaders, they are interested in human factor. What does it mean? A manager may not think about the human aspect of an employee. A manager can look at an individual as an employee, but a leader is not like that. He also has concern towards the personal aspects of his own followers. That is the difference. Let us see one more difference. Decisions are based on control because they work under in a hierarchy. They are under control. But what about a leader? Leaders' decisions are based on trust. When a leader takes a decision, the followers, they believe it and they follow it, and he creates trust among the followers. And coming to the manager, they have long-term vision. Followers not only have long-term vision, besides that they also have short-term vision. We have to think here and now. Not only that, we also have to think about tomorrow. One must have short-term vision and also long-term vision. Both must be balanced together and they must be followed together. And I think there are a few more differences. I quickly read out some of them, because we must know the difference between a manager and a leader. Without knowing that, you may acquire some wrong qualities. Managers usually ask how and why and when, because they have got some persons and also some structure, hierarchy and everything, and they have to follow that. Whereas a leader, he usually asks why should I do something. It is a questioning attitude. If you are not questioning and trying to understand the situation, you also become a follower. If you want to become a leader, we have to question why you are doing something. When you question and understand the intricacies of something, then definitely When you understand the intrinsic value of something, you can be an achiever and you can be a leader. Managers always aim at the result, whereas the leaders, they aim at the concept and the idea, and finally they want to work for the benefit of majority of the people. And then usually managers imitate some success stories of their seniors, whereas a leader creates success and success stories not only for themselves but even for their followers. I think I am skipping off some of them. I am coming to the last one. Manager respects the efficiency, whereas a leader respects innovation. You can be successful in doing a job, but very few people can be successful in innovative things and innovating things. So, if you want to be a leader, think in an innovative way and try to be innovative not only in your life but also in your profession. Let us move on. We also have to think about one more contrast, that is a boss. Who is a boss? You know pretty well, you might have seen many bosses, even in movies you might have seen, even in many companies you might have seen bosses. One must not be a boss. We must convince people in doing something. A leader is always a convincing one. He inspires and convinces people to do something. But boss, you know what happens? Boss always exercises his or her authority to get something done. A leader can inspire and influence people even without authority. So, my dear viewers, none of you may be having any authority, but still you can be a leader. Leader does not mean one who has some authority. Leader is one who has some capacity to influence others with some good qualities. Let us move on. A boss always looks for authority. You know what happens? A leader, he radiates love and affection and concern among his followers. When you are convincing towards the other people, definitely they are obliged to do something for you, and definitely you become a leader. Even if you have authority, don't exercise authority. Authority is not everything. Authority has many limitations. But if you are convincing, definitely you can prevail upon anybody and you can get your things done. That is the best quality of a leader. Even those who have authority, and they tend to be leaders even without exercising their authority. And boss always demands, but leader always commands respect. This is the basic difference, my dear viewers. Let us keep some of these salient features of leaders in contrast with leaders and in contrast with bosses and also what we call managers. Let us move on. And I have a few more. I hope you can read for yourselves all this, and if you want to note down, you can note down, but I am skipping off. Let us move on to some of the pitfalls of leadership. After all, human beings are human beings. Even great leaders, they do have their own lapses and pitfalls, and that is why some of the world famous leaders, they failed due to some small mistakes. So, sometimes these leaders, they fail because they cannot communicate their vision properly to the next ones. If you are not communicating your vision to the next one, definitely whatever you started doing, and that will be diluted by your successors. So, some leaders, they try to be domineers, and the excessive dominance also leads to demotivation, and I advise you to avoid these things. And intolerance of disagreement. Sometimes you know what happens when you want to say something, some people may disagree. If you are open to criticism, you will not be intolerant to those people. You accept it and you try to follow their disagreement. That also gives you a cue to your future. And some people, they are impatient to get results. So, you need not be. Sometimes your result may be delayed, but if you have patience, you can achieve whatever you want to. And let us move on. Let us skip off these pitfalls and move on to the other aspect, how you can acquire these qualities of leaders. And leadership is a soft skill, management is a hard skill, because people give you training and you read, and by experience you can become a manager. But leadership is a soft skill you have to acquire by practice, by observation, and also by emulation. And if you want to become a leader in your life, you must observe certain things, you must understand certain things. What are they? Everything happens in your life with some objective. Nothing happens. God never allows anything in our lives to happen just for that, just like that. It happens with a purpose. You are a unique individual and your life has a purpose. If you can understand that purpose, definitely you can be purposeful, you can be meaningful in your life. And you can read all these ideas for yourselves, and I am skipping off to the next slide. And you have to nurture leadership qualities. Some people, they have leadership qualities maybe by birth. Not that everyone has these leadership qualities by birth, but you can also nurture them. Whatever you have, you can improve them, you can nurture them in your life, and you have to control your life. You cannot let it go as it is. You are not managing and you are not keeping your life under your control. It means that you are failing in your life. So you have to control your life, and whatever happens in your life, you have to take responsibility of that. Usually, you know, we find people taking credit to their achievements, and if something goes wrong, they throw blame on somebody else. It should not be like that. It's not a leadership quality. A leader takes failures to his credit, and something being achieved by himself and also by his teammates, you know, he gives credit to others first and next to himself. That's a leadership quality. My dear youngsters and viewers, I advise all of you to take that responsibility, and definitely people will recognize you as a leader. Do you want to be a leader? Then follow this most important aspect and convey positive and dynamic attitude in everything. We find people, they find always negative aspects in what is happening in front of their eyes. If you are like that, always you get demotivated and you also demotivate others. So you have to be positive in your life, and I am skipping off some of these. You can see all these ideas on the screen, and one of the important ones is turn disasters into opportunities. In the first lesson, shyness my shield, Gandhi says he was shy, no doubt. Most of the youngsters are shy in their lives, but what do? They turn their weaknesses, their laps into their strengths. We must have that strategy of turning our own weaknesses into our strengths. When you prepare your resume, you also write these aspects like that. Suppose you have a habit of studying late into night. Actually, that's a weakness. The good habit is early to bed and early to rise, but you may have a habit of going to bed very late at night. So what will you do? You can say that I can work even late into night, because some of the companies these days, they are seeking for people who can work at night. Then it definitely becomes a strength. So in that way, you can turn your weaknesses or your lapses into your strengths. Let us move on. And one must have that listening activity and listening skill. If you want to be a leader, you must be very attentive listener. Hearing is different from listening. The more you listen, the better you are. Only listening individuals are the successful individuals. If you want to talk all the time, you cannot be successful. And what is the goal for you in your life? The goal for you is take control of your environment, wherever you are, whether you are in college or in your house or in your society, wherever you are a youngster. You can control things for a positive purpose. There are some leaders who are destroying the society with a negative impact. These days we see many anti-social elements in the country and also society. They are working against the society. No, one cannot be like that. You see, they may come to you and they may destroy your own self. That's why I advise you, be positive in your life and try to have positive impact upon the people. And finally, as we are about to close, I advise you to have self-evaluation. People are different in their personality. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. Some people, they speak to themselves and they never express themselves. If you are like that, it is not always good. Of course, intrapersonal communication is always good, but at the same time, one must be an extrovert to communicate with others. If you are not communicating with others, you know what happens? Very often, you get misunderstood by people. So, what happens? You have to be a communicative person in your life if you want to become a leader. And not only that, as I told you in the beginning, you have to be honest when you are making a self-assessment, and if you have some lapses, some weaknesses, think of them and consult your seniors and see how you can overcome your own problems and your own weaknesses. You can also consult your teachers in colleges, and you can take their advice and their counsel so that you can overcome. As young people, you may have what we call short temper, and sometimes you may be a bit hesitant to contact and meet your teachers. But I advise you, your teachers are the people who seek your future and they try to encourage you. So go and see your teachers and consult them, and definitely they give you right advice to excel in your lives. So if you want to be a leader, I advise all the viewers to follow some of these qualities at least, and try to be a leader in your own given environment. You have to think globally and you have to act locally. All great leaders, they started at their own end and finally they became all famous leaders. Thank you very much for viewing. All the best.